Growing up next to Pleasant Bay was like having two mothers. The first being the one who gave me life, and the second being Mother Nature. Having that second mother at times was what I needed. As you can imagine, having 4 children, the mother who gave birth to me kept very busy. We didn't have a playground. We had marshes, ponds, rivers, and the woods. When I became old enough, I was allowed to go past the big rock outside Powell River. That opened up a whole new world to me. With a 12-foot boat and 10 horsepower outboard, Pleasant Bay offered me many directions to go. At one end of the bay, there's quiet, still ponds and rivers. The other end of the bay could be a surf-filled 8-knot current direct out to the ocean. There were salt marsh rivers to race through. Big waves to jump at the Narrows and Viking Point. There are islands to explore, Indian relics to look for, fish to catch, quahogs and clams to dig, and crabs to net. All these things are connected with marine life, wildlife, the tides, the seasons. It's all interconnected. I remember when I was about 12 years old, I asked my father for $1 so I could go to the movies, and he said, "Go quahogging." I wasn't pleased with his answer. Being a stubborn young man, I really wanted to go to the movies, so I did go quahogging, and I made more than that $1 that he didn't give me. At that age, the preferred way of quahogging was to walk in the mud and find the quahogs with my toes. As I got older, I learned how to use a quahog scratcher and then a bull rake. My father didn't have much time to teach, but he would get me started and let me figure out the rest. I didn't realize as I spent time on the bay that my second mother was always with me, teaching and guiding me, just as my first mother had done without me knowing it. During my teenage years, my father started a small marine science school with his second wife. I guess that would kind of make her my third mother. My sister and I were included in the student body, and we both got a good early science background to the bay. My father owned a small marine construction company, building docks, seawalls, and boathouse foundations, things like that. After I graduated high school, I joined the crew, and I've been doing that type of work for over 40 years. Nearly every job I have done has involved Conservation Commission and Department of Environmental Protection oversight. A knowledge for the natural resources, plant, fish, and wildlife was and is an important requirement to keeping a good professional reputation. But also it meant something to me to work to protect the fragile ecosystem I grew up in, a system I consider part of me. The places I found myself working in were so beautiful. I made it a point to not only do a good job, but to leave each site better than I had found it. Over time, visitors started to come. We needed hotels, yacht clubs, golf courses, boat yards, housing developments came in. After many years, I began to see there were too many projects on the bay and that the shoreline was rapidly changing. This was unsettling to me. It caused me to start to see the unchanged places with greater value and respect. And in return, these wild places started to change me. Think of rain that enters a freshwater pond, then flows down a river or through the ground to the bay, then out to the ocean to evaporate and become rain again. If any part of this system becomes compromised, it affects other parts, leaving the system itself diminished. For me, it's essential to see what's right in front, but also essential to realize what we don't see. For instance, There is an amazing network of fresh water that joins the bay. This fresh water enters the bay all around its perimeter, at the tide line and below. This nourishes the grasses and shellfish. Each saltwater pond in the bay system is in some way connected to a freshwater pond or swamp by small rivers. These rivers have all become impaired over time due to the increase of environmental stresses and infrastructure humans have put on them. The bay is also rich in history. This is where many native families raised their families and made their homes. I find it interesting how little physical evidence these people left behind. I think the tribes not only respected the beauty of this place, but also respected its very being, and were careful not to disturb the natural world. When I can put the development behind me and focus on the wild parts of the bay, the only way I can describe it for me, it's like the opposite of claustrophobia. It was difficult for me to learn that the thoughts in my head can become blinders that narrow the focus. By letting go of the internal dialogue, I experience more awareness of the smaller details and have more understanding of the bigger picture. When I'm on the bay, I found it's better to go not with intention, but with attention. And there's a great feeling of freedom. If one has the opportunity to observe this, they'll see there's a wonderful balance to it, and that we're a part of that balance. There's sort of a calling from the bay, or maybe it's that second mother that says, "Thank you for being here. This is where you belong." I hope this documentary will help people see the significance of how wild and beautiful this place still is and how critical it is to keep the balance. And more importantly, to be part of that balance. I'm thankful to my father for teaching me to observe and respect the nature of Pleasant Bay. I'm thankful to my stepmother for the experience to learn about the diverse ecosystem of Pleasant Bay. And I'm thankful to my mother for giving me room to grow in this wonderful environment. And I'm thankful to Mother Nature for surrounding me in her world. Without it, my world would not be the same.